Hello, and welcome to Make a Difference, the show about how volunteers are making a difference every day in Montgomery County, Maryland. I'm your host, Florence Jewell. There's a quote by Bernice Johnson Reagan. Life's challenges are not supposed to paralyze you. They're supposed to help you discover who you are. March is Women's History Month, and we are pleased to talk to two women who are not paralyzed by challenges and are making a difference in Montgomery County, Maryland. Montgomery County, Maryland is an age-friendly community. And in this county, Alzheimer's disease and dementia are particularly common, with about 12% of Medicare recipients who are seniors living with these diseases. Did you know faith groups play a huge role in looking after the most vulnerable in our community, including those suffering from dementia? Later in the show, I'll be speaking with Kate Chance, Interfaith Community Liaison with Montgomery County, Maryland, Office of Community Partnership. She leads and works in the county, ranked as the Public Relation Research Institute, the most diverse in the U.S. Our first guest is Ruth Kirchner, the program manager for the National Family Caregiving Support Program and the Dementia-Friendly Community in Montgomery County, all a part of the Department of Health and Human Services. Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. Ruth, before we get started, let's just tell the audience, who is Ruth?
Well, one of the things about me is I love to volunteer. I have volunteered from childhood on up, Girl Scouts. I actually helped to open the Schweinhut Senior Center many, many moons ago. So I believe in volunteering. I think it's a wonderful resource to do. And it gives the person as much as it gives to the people that you are volunteering for. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. We have a connection. I did taxes there for AARP last year at that Senior Citizen Community Center.
Wonderful.
Now, Ruth, this is a show about volunteering, and I'm so happy you are a volunteer and you have volunteered. Can you talk to us about the program that you are managing for the county, giving us the why behind the program and what's in it for us?
Absolutely. And I'm also going to gear it a little tiny bit, since it's Women's History Month, to some facts and figures about the women. If you were 65 in 2014, you can expect to live another 24 years to about 86. The majority of people 70 and older are women. So we want women, this is the most important statistic for me, make up an estimated 66% of caregivers. So the amount of time and energy and money that we are providing as unpaid caregivers are the women in our county. And so my program through the Area Agency on Aging is providing resources and support so that those caregivers can continue to give a fabulous job of caregiving for those they love. If you don't get support, if you don't get help, whether it be from the volunteers that I hope to recruit today or from other resources in the community, do you know that 63% of the people who are caregivers die before the person they take care of, because you don't take care of yourself. So it's very important that we take care of ourselves as well as the people that we love who need help. This particular program that I run is for those who need help, those who may suffer from dementia, from cognitive loss. The particular program that I'm looking for volunteers for is for the Dementia Friends of America. If you'd like more information after I've shared, there's a website. It's called dementiafriendsusa.org. And you can go on there and just learn a little bit more about what the program does. But what I'm looking for is people who are interested in going out and sharing with the community about what is dementia, teaching our community and educating them how to talk to somebody with dementia. What happens when it's the first person in your life is now diagnosed with a dementing illness? How do you deal with it? It's frightening. It can be very scary. So what I want for our volunteers is to go out and reassure, to help. When you have knowledge, when you're educated, it
Mhm.
helps deal with any of the issues that may arise. I'll give you one example. It's one of my favorites. I had a family member who took her husband who has dementia, because dementia, you don't look sick. You look healthy and fine. It's your mind that has the disease. They went to a restaurant, and while they were sitting around the restaurant, the waitress came up, and he was very, very rude to this waitress. Not because 10 years ago, without this disease, he never would have been rude, but now he
Mhm.
was rude. So we've developed some coping mechanisms. How do you handle this? How does the wife handle it? What are some preventative things she might do before she goes to the restaurant so that people won't be scared if he speaks in inappropriate sentences, maybe some racial slurs. The other place that I think it's a really important, you mentioned at the beginning, are our faith-based organizations. One of the things I'd love for our volunteers to do, we get asked all the time, and one of the issues is we get asked Saturdays and Sundays when faith-based institutions are in session. So
Mhm.
we like for someone to go to the congregations, to their fellowships, their sisterhoods, their meeting times, and give talks to everybody to share what is dementia, how does it impact you, how does it impact the caregiver, and what are the resources in Montgomery County that we have that we can provide for our caregivers to support them to be healthy and happy and live good, productive lives. That's a little bit. I know you had a couple other questions. I can talk forever. So,
No, this is great. This is a great backdrop to where we want to go. And we are talking to an audience that is focused on recognizing volunteers and recruiting volunteers. So let's do have some questions around what's the requirement for a volunteer in terms of eligibility, age, and is it virtual? Is it in
uh,
person? Just tell us a little bit about the
thank you.
life of a volunteer if you were to contact you and volunteer.
It's I'm requiring that you be 18 and over. I would
Okay,
like if people have a car to go, because I think doing some of these talks, there's nothing that beats in-person connecting. However, we do the talks virtually. Sometimes we can reach a broader audience. People that couldn't get out to go visit a place can meet with us virtually. So sometimes they're in the evenings, sometimes they're during the workday. Sometimes they're Saturdays and Sundays. So it's no specific time. It's when the group calls and says, do you have somebody that would come and talk? The only thing you need to do is be personable. If you're comfortable in front of a crowd, we give you, it's a script. You don't have to make up the speech. You don't have to make up the talk. All the information. If you don't know any questions, because sometimes people ask questions that you
right.
don't know the answers to, you just say, let me write that down. I will get back with my supervisor, who's me, and she will reach out to you and let you know how that we can be any answers that we could give to somebody. So it's a very simple thing. And sometimes the groups are just a family. The father got diagnosed with dementia, and the family is going, what do we do? What do we do? And you just want the mom, the dad, the brother, the sister, the aunt, the uncle. So you got 6 people in a room. So it can
Right.
be as small as that, or it can be as large as I did a church congregation that like had 250 people. So it's based on your comfort level as a volunteer. If you don't want to go to the 250, you don't have to. If you prefer, a small intimate group, whatever your choice is, you're helping us. So we are very, very happy to accommodate what you would like, where you would feel comfortable. And we also do for our volunteers, I'm seeing my kitty in the background. We do supply, not only do we supply you the speech, but we supply you tools to take around with you. And one of them, this is a teaching moment. Anytime I talk anywhere, I have to teach. This is a kitty cat. She is battery run. So she's a lovely gift around the holiday season. I hope you can hear her. She meows, she purrs, she breathes. I don't know if you can hear the purring. She
Yes, I can hear.
she breathes up and down. And I will tell you, there's a secondary component to this, because it's not just for the person with dementia. The caregiver sometimes can become very depressed. it becomes isolating and lonely. The kitty is not only good for everybody to hold and pet and get some comfort from, but a secondary plus is that the grandkids want to come over to the house more often to play with the kitty. So even though that's not what the kitty's for, it brings more joy, more socialization, more involvement from family. So it's multi-layered kind of tools that we try and share when we go out and do these talks of how your life can be more enjoyable and still be doing the caregiving work that you're doing.
Absolutely. You talked about the faith community, and I really appreciate you talking, because we'll be talking to Kate later about that. What other communities are you reaching out to? First responders, just go through a list of
Sure.
communities that are partnering with you that,
Absolutely. So we're starting with faith. It's not just churches, synagogues, it's mosques, it's Buddhist temples, it's anywhere and anybody that wants to get a gathering together, the Unitarians, we're there. Then we want to go to the businesses. I mentioned the restaurant that woman went to. Well, if we
okay,
could have gone ahead of time and done a dementia talk and trained the wait staff and the hostess staff, they'll be more welcoming and able to deal when somebody with dementia walks in. We also do grocery stores, we do the banks, we do department stores, anybody that'll have us. We're like, please, please, we want to come and educate. We want to come and share this information so they'll feel more comfortable. Because you never know when you're talking to, especially the businesses, the restaurants and what, yes, we're talking to them about how this is what can happen when the person comes to your place of business. But I will tell you, almost 9 times out of 10, somebody comes up to me after the talk and says, my mother, my father, my sister. So it's also personal as well as connecting from from the business perspective. So yes, we go to libraries, we go to the Park Service. You think of a place, if they want us to come and talk, we are there. So yes, we do all faith-based, but everything else in the county.
absolutely. And I'm really glad that you are working with small, medium, and large businesses, because their workers are all, if you're in the hospitality of the service or they're dealing with other issues in their home. So it's good that you're including businesses, and thank you on that. So Ruth, um, tell us how, if someone was interested, they saw this or heard this show and they want to contact you, what's the process? How do they go about reaching out to you?
Very simple. They can call on the cell phone or they can contact me by email, ruth.kirschner@montgomerycountymd.gov. Either way, then we have a very, very small volunteer application form, basically asking for your demographics, when you would be interested in doing the talks. And then we're set to go as soon as we have a group come in saying that we would like somebody to go talk. The first time I will do a training for everyone so they learn what the talk is. The first time you go out, I will go with you to make sure you feel safe and any questions or things. And then after that, you're on your own. We'd really like for people to feel comfortable and confident and get out there and talk to the community. And I would like to share one last thing because I think it is so important. It's what I tell all of my volunteers and staff that work with me. There's a little parable about a young
Okay.
man that is walking on the beach and he's throwing the sand dollars back into the water. And an older gentleman comes by and goes, young man, why are you doing that? This beach is 1,000,000 miles long. There's 1,000,000 sand dollars. And the young man looks at the older man and he picks up one more sand dollar and he throws it into the water. He goes, it made a difference to that one.
Absolutely, Ruth. We're certainly out of time right now. And I really want our audience to get in contact with you and make sure that they are volunteering. Thank you so much, Ruth, for what you are doing and how you're helping all of us in Montgomery County. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks for having me on. I hope a lot of people call to volunteer. We would love to have you.
I think you've already put it out in the universe and you will be getting those calls. Thank you, Ruth. I've been speaking with Ruth Kirschner, Program Manager with the Montgomery County, Maryland Department of Health and Human Services. We need to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more of Make a Difference.
The Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center is part of the Office of Community Partnerships with Montgomery County, Maryland. It serves anyone living in Montgomery County with a focus on immigrant needs. Do you need to find help but don't know where to start or who to ask? You can either call the Gilchrist Center or visit any of the Gilchrist Center's 3 sites in Wheaton, Gaithersburg, and East County. Our staff will help you find programs and services available for you. For example, we can help you identify organizations that provide assistance with employment, healthcare, legal needs, housing, financial needs, and more. You can also find that information on our website. For example, our website has a dedicated Immigrant Resources section. In that section, you can find organizations that provide support on legal immigration matters. You can also find a Know Your Rights page with guides, flyers, Know Your Rights cards, and family preparedness information. Our website is easy to navigate and can be translated into more than 200 languages. You can find our website at www.montgomerycountymd.gov/Gilchrist. If you would prefer to talk to someone live, you can call our information and referral line at 240-777-4940, open between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday, or you can visit us in person. Our staff are bilingual and have access to interpretation services. But that is not all. The Gilchrist Center also offers free English, basic computer, and citizenship preparation classes. Our classes are open to people living in Montgomery County, Maryland, ages 18 and older. Some of our classes require you to purchase a book. For more information, please call the Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center or visit our website.
Welcome back to Make a Difference. I'm your host, Florence Jewell. With me is Kate Chance, Interfaith Community Liaison for Montgomery County. Welcome, Kate, and thank you for being on Make a Difference.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Our pleasure. We're excited to have you. Kate, let's start with the who are you and our audience getting to know you.
Absolutely. So my name is Kate Chance. I've been the faith liaison for a little over 3 years now. I'm originally from Gainesville, Florida, which is, in Central Florida, a university town. And a lot of people ask me, why I studied religion, why I got into this work, because it's not really a normal position, right? Often people haven't heard the term faith liaison before. It's a little unusual. But for me, it's just an incredible job that's really aligned with the experiences that I've had in life and my education. I got my master's degree from the University of Oxford. I studied Islam and Hinduism. Most people in my program picked the religious traditions they were the most familiar with. I made a mistake and I picked the 2 that I knew the least about. And I somehow graduated and survived. And I learned so much in that process about both traditions. And from there, I moved back to Gainesville. I helped make it a welcoming city. And I worked for the University of Florida's Islamic Center and Hindu Center. And then from there, I went and worked for Islamic Networks Group, which is a nonprofit in San Jose, California, that helps combat Islamophobia. And I was their interfaith liaison. So I did a lot of community building efforts. And that was, 2016. So I started that position right before the Trump administration came in initially. And a huge conversation at that time was around the Muslim ban and the hateful rhetoric towards the Muslim community. And so it was an awful time, but I was really grateful to be in a position where I could be supportive and to learn more about the Muslim community and just the Islamophobia that this community experienced. And I've been here again for like maybe 3.5 years at this point. And, of all the places I've lived and all the jobs I've had, this is my favorite. And I adore how diverse this area is, because everywhere else I've lived is diverse except Montgomery, Alabama. But the communities don't interact in the same way that they do here. And it's just such an incredible place to live. And so I'm really grateful to be here and to work with all of our amazing religious communities.
Wow, you have an amazing career journey and life journey. And so we are really glad to have you. This is an amazing place. It's in the introduction, I talked about us being the most diverse, and with that comes race, culture, and everything. I'd like for you in your new role to kind of unpack what you are working with in terms of our diversity. I mean, we've got a tremendous story here, and it is an awesome place to live, work, and be.
It really is. So the Public Religion Research Institute did a study about the religious diversity within the whole nation. And it found that because our census doesn't do that sort of data, right? It doesn't
Right.
ask people their religious tradition. And it found that Montgomery County is the most religiously diverse county and area in the entire nation, which is why I'm just so fortunate to have this job, is to be able to work with all these communities. So our highest concentration is of Black Protestant Christians. That's right around 10% of the population. And I've asked them, I haven't gotten answers if that includes our Ethiopian and our Caribbean communities, because we do have such thriving Ethiopian and Caribbean communities, and not just African American, right? So I'm curious
Absolutely.
about that Black Protestant Christian number. We have the second highest concentration of Orthodox Christians in the nation here as well. We have the third highest concentration of those that practice Hinduism. It's about 3% of our population. We have the fourth highest concentration of those that practice Judaism, about 9% of the population, just under 10,000. The fourth highest concentration of those that practice Islam, around 3%. The fifth highest concentration of those that practice Buddhism, around 3%. And the fifth highest concentration of Unitarian Universalists, which I thought was interesting, around 1%. What the study didn't find is anything about the Sikh community, which I believe we have a thriving Sikh community here as well.
Mhm.
We have a number of Gurdwaras throughout the county. It didn't get into the Seventh-day Adventist community, which we also have a thriving SDA community here. It didn't get into the LDS community. So I wish the study was a little bit deeper. But I was really excited, but I wasn't surprised to see that either. And then when we look at that diversity, because I've worked in other parts of the country, and I'm just going to use mosques as an example here. Usually communities will have like a mosque, right? And people of different backgrounds will all attend the same mosque. But here we have multiple Shia mosques, most are Sunni. We have communities that are broken down based off of geographic location. Like we have an Indonesian mosque. The largest Muslim country is Indonesia.
Mhm.
And that's not something most people know. And so to have an Indonesian mosque here is just, so unique. We have not just the Ahmadiyya mosque. The Ahmadiyya is a belief in Islam with a prophet following Muhammad. I could talk about that a little bit longer, but I'll keep it short. And their headquarters is here, and they have mosques throughout the country as well. We have the Dawudi Bora community, which is another unique, branch within Islam. We just have so many amazing, diverse communities here represented at our mosques. And similar, like our Buddhist communities, we have Cambodian, we have Thai, we have Vietnamese, all these different communities. But what is always beautiful to me is that within those communities, right, if I visit the Indonesian mosque, I'm not just seeing people from Indonesia. I'm seeing people from African countries, from Middle Eastern countries. So even within those specific, regional mosques or, houses of worship, it's still diverse.
Wow. I mean, I'm fascinated with because again, I've been to a mosque. I had a friend from France come over, and he wanted to attend a mosque, but I went into DC. I didn't know about all the mosques here. And speaking of that, let's start, with the time we have left, educate our audience on what you are doing in terms of some of the success stories that you work with the county on in public safety. I mean, worship house safety, resettlement, things like that.
This is, an interesting job because it's never the same things. And, all of the liaisons within the Office of Community Partnerships, we help in so many different ways. So I often forget about all of the things, right? And I'll try to stick to some of the highlights. One of the main focuses is House of Worship security. Because we're so diverse, a lot of our communities do feel unsafe. We do have hate crimes targeting specific houses of worship. That has absolutely increased since October 7th. And so we want to make sure our communities feel safe and supported. So we
Absolutely.
have quarterly security trainings where we go over some basics with House of Worship security and connect folks to resources. And we also have a House of Worship security grant, or it's not just for houses of worship, pardon. It's all nonprofits can apply for this because there are a number of diverse communities that have fear of experiencing hate crimes as well, like our LGBTQ resource centers, our centers that provide support, to women in various capacities. So a number of other organizations apply for this grant, but folks can apply for up to $20,000 to provide cameras or security personnel. And so we hope that that will help deter hate crimes. We also are trying to support houses of worship in developing affordable housing. So the best thing about my job is that, most people that work in government are hearing constituent complaints all day, like what's wrong with the world, what they're frustrated about, issues with potholes and everything else, right? But people call me and they want to be a part of solutions. And the ability to utilize House of Worship land to develop affordable housing is such an amazing way to support your community and to help financially create more stability for your house of worship. So we have a number of houses of worship that are in the process of developing affordable housing. We work with this program called Enterprise that they help houses of worship through that process. We just launched a cohort of 7 houses of worship, and it's a 2-year program, but it'll help them have the tools in place to help them along this journey because developing affordable housing is not easy. It's complicated, and we can't expect our faith leaders and their congregants to be experts in development, right? So it gives folks tools to help create housing. And we have a number of houses of worship that have already created senior affordable housing in particular. Like we have St. Anne's Episcopal in Damascus. That's a great example. They just opened their doors, I think 5-6 months ago. So when I started this job, I started August 2021, and that was the same week that we withdrew from Afghanistan. And so, we're starting to see or to wonder what will happen to those in Afghanistan. And so we start taking in flights of people that needed support. And our resettlement agencies weren't staffed properly because of the previous presidential administration. And so a lot of our resettlement agencies needed House of Worship support, the faith community, to step up and fill some of those gaps. And we saw around 1,000 Afghan refugees come into Montgomery County specifically in that time. There have been more since then. And so our faith communities wanted to step up and be supportive. So the first calls I got my first day in this job, I'm new liaison, and the questions are, how do we help these Afghan refugees? What are we going to do? And so I just help try to connect folks to each other and to resources and to work with the resettlement agencies to help support these families. And we have just so many amazing initiatives that I'm not leading, to be
Right,
clear.
absolutely.
I hope
Wow.
I'm helpful to them. I hope I am someone that they know they can call and be helpful. And that is a lot of the phone calls I get around supporting refugees and newcomers and migrants. But it's our houses of worship and our faith communities that are stepping up and doing that work. I could go on, but I'll stop.
Absolutely. We have got to bring you back because the faith community is doing a lot and you are doing a lot too. So we're so happy to have you, Kate, with us, and we've got to bring you back. That's it for this episode of Make a Difference. I would like to thank our guests, Ruth Kirschner and Kate Chance, and you for joining us. I'm your host, Florence Jewell. Remember, change starts with you. If you're interested in a volunteer opportunity, visit our website at montgomeryserve.org. Until next time, let's be inspired and make a difference.